I do really believe 100% from every part of me that everyone has the capacity to be able to do the things that they want and not to be held back by the mental baggage that's in our head that we want to push through.
Welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. In each episode, we get down and personal with people who go after the things they want to make all their wildest dreams come true. Join us as we unveil and dissect a formula for what it takes to do the thing. Here is your host, Stacy Lauren.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacy Lauren. When today's guest agreed to be on the podcast, I was thrilled. My mastermind told me about him, and I've submerged myself in his story ever since. His rise to the top is truly inspiring, and I cannot wait to share his advice with you. He's the founder and host of Entrepreneurs on Fire, an award-winning podcast. His library of over 3,600 interviews reaches an audience of more than 100 million, generating 1 million listens monthly. He's also an accomplished writer. His book, The Common Path to Uncommon Success, offers readers a groundbreaking 17-step path to financial freedom and fulfillment. Most of the people I've interviewed on this podcast are people I've known personally or through my network. So he's the first one I've actually reached out to directly to get an interview. So I realized I really wanted to dive into his stuff to learn about him more. And what I realized is many people only know about his current status and not where he came from or how he rose to greatness. And that's the other thing I think is really cool about people. And when you learn their story, how impactful it truly is, because you get to learn what got them motivated to do what they do and what helped them do the thing by figuring out the why and what makes them excited about doing it. Before becoming an entrepreneur, this guest was in the military. He served for 8 years, spending half of his time in Iraq as an armor platoon leader. But like many people who serve the country, he had to grow up really quickly. While on active duty, he witnessed the hardship and sheer devastation war causes. Although he made it home safely, he lost 4 people while serving. Ever since that life-changing experience, he's made it his mission to help others in honor of their ultimate sacrifice. He believes no one should ever settle for a life that lacks fulfillment. Determined to find the right path for his life, he began listening to the stories of other inspirational people. During long commutes, he discovered podcasts. They became his primary entertainment source. And all the content he consumed would soon change his trajectory. He fell head over heels with many of the podcasters, and he loved how they could reach a vast audience for free. Listening to podcasts gave this guest a renewed sense of purpose and determination. At the age of 32, he finally decided to launch his own podcast, and he didn't waste any time getting into the water. He jumped in headfirst, releasing new episodes every day of the week. Focusing on interviewing successful entrepreneurs, he uses their stories to help others create the life they desire. He doesn't believe anyone should settle for second best when so many opportunities are available. His contagious energy and optimistic outlook strike a positive chord with everyone he meets. He truly practices what he preaches and believes anyone can reach their dreams when they set out to do the thing. I can't wait for you guys to hear some of his tried and true secrets for doing the thing. It's an honor to welcome John Lee Dumas to the show. Hey, John.
Stacy, I am fired up to be here.
Well, this is cool because you're my first person that I'm interviewing that's outside my network.
I love it.
Yeah, it's so cool. So the podcast is called Do the Thing. I get to interview people who do the thing or help others do the thing. And I'm basically just dissecting a formula for how they do it. And it's funny because I heard about you from the guy that runs my mastermind. But since he referred me to you, I've been listening to your podcast. I traveled virtually to your house in Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
Read your book, got your journal. And the thing I love is how you're not only doing the thing, you're showing others how to do the thing. And then you're also showing people how to do it through your tools and programs that you offer.
Well, thank you. That was honestly the inspiration from just about day one, because when I launched the podcast back in 2012, I had been inspired by so many people who came before me, who gave me mentorship, guidance, knowledge, a belief in myself. And I said, if I ever get to the point where I'm successful, I want to do the same thing to other people. And, one of the ways that we've been doing that for a long time is we've actually just published our 105th consecutive income reports on a monthly basis, where we detail out everything: what's working in our business, how we're making money, what's not working in our business, how we're losing money, mistakes that we make, successes that we have, and then everything in the middle. And that's the kind of transparency, of authenticity, of just hopefully inspiration that we can bring to people who, again, just like I was helped on my way up, I want to help other people on their way up.
Yeah. And I think that's really what strikes me the most about you, is just the value that you bring to the world with just the things that you've learned and the things that you've done. And it's almost like you're giving people a blueprint from all your mistakes and pain, and you're able to help them learn from it, which I think is unbelievable.
Because I've had some pain, let me tell you. And I love sharing the pain, because I want people to avoid the mistakes that I've made, just like I want them to emulate the successes that I've had. So to me, it's both sides of the coin.
Yeah. What do you think has been maybe your biggest learning lesson throughout all of it that you think you can share?
This too shall pass. We live so much in the moment, Stacey, where we're like, oh my God, everything's going amazing. It's going to be going amazing forever. Not true. Like, oh my God, everything's terrible. The sky is falling down. I'm never going to be happy again. Not true. Like, both of those things are going to happen, the best and the worst things, and a lot of things in the middle. But especially as an entrepreneur on this journey, if you can just remember to say to yourself at all times, this too shall pass, you're going to have a lot more even keel throughout this journey.
I love that. So basically a mantra that you're able to say whenever you're going through any kind of challenge.
But again, not just challenges. Like, even when you're going through the best of the best times, it's important to say this too shall pass, because it will. So maybe you're going to appreciate that moment a little bit more.
Oh yeah, that's true. I like that. So I think the thing that's so interesting to me, it's not only there's so much that I would love to talk to you about, but it would take longer than what we have. I was like, from reading your book and just hearing what you survived from with your military experience to just all the different things that you did after that. It's just, honestly, it's unbelievable what you've been through and how you've come out of it. And then the other thing that I think is incredible is the fact that you've done, I think it's 3,000 interviews. Is that right?
Up to 3,600 now.
Oh my gosh. And I'm imagining through all your life experience and then all the people that you've interviewed, you're seeing so many parallels and patterns of people. And I think that's part of what's coming out with your journal and your books and your programs, which is really cool, right? But I'm just wondering, what are some of the traits that really have stood out to you in the people that you've interviewed? And then also with yourself, what are those patterns that you've seen?
I'd say the three biggest patterns of people that I've interviewed over the years would be productivity, discipline, and focus. Like, those are patterns that every successful entrepreneur has. And when we talk about like productivity, I'm not just saying being busy. Like, I'm a little busy bee. Like, I did so many things today. Like, but what did you do that was producing the right content? What was that? And now, like, you and I talking right now, this is producing the right content for both of us. But what are you doing every day to produce the right content? That is my definition of productivity. And then discipline. Are you a disciplined person? That means you have a plan of action every single day. And are you a disciple to executing upon that plan of action? Like, that's what successful people do. And then the last one's focus, which is my favorite acronym, which is follow one course until success. Listen, when you're onto something and it's working, you should be like a dog with a bone on that thing. Like, you don't let it go until you have finished that thing, until you've gotten done whatever that task is. Focus is something that so few people have, but those people that have it, man, they are off to the races when it comes to being a success in their business.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's so amazing when you have something that you're able to really put all your energy toward and then see it through till the end. I was wondering, as far as discipline goes, that's been a really common thing that's been coming out as a piece of the formula, is people that have developed discipline in themselves. What do you think is the best way to flex that muscle of discipline?
So listen, discipline is such a key muscle to continue to flex every single day. And one thing that I am a big believer of is the phrase, win tomorrow today. Now, how do you do that? Well, number one, a lot of people are just like, oh, when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm going to come up with a plan. I'm going to execute that plan. Well, what happens? You wake up in the morning, the kids are screaming, you're tired, you have a headache, you need to go for a workout. And by the time you're done all these things, you're like, well, what am I going to do today? You don't really have a plan because you gave it to yourself till that day of to actually create that plan where that's not going to work. So your plan needs to happen the day before. And that's going to allow you to be a disciple to that plan, to be disciplined enough to wake up and say, you know what? I know exactly what yesterday's, sharp brain said, which was, I'm going to do these things tomorrow. This is my plan of action. And then that will allow you to be focused, to be productive, and to be disciplined.
And so you're basically, the muscle is writing down the plan the day before. So then that day of, you're following what you wrote down.
The day of, you're just executing.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you're not burning energy on what your plan is because you've already thought about it the day prior.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you also put gratitude in there too. In the mastery journal. I thought that was really great. Because I think a lot of those kinds of strategies, it's like not focused on gratitude initially. And I really thought that was a great way to start your day off as well.
And that's how I have every one of my journals start is what's something unique you're grateful for? Because, everybody's like, oh yeah, I practice gratitude. I'm thankful for my kids every single day. And it's like, that's not really gratitude. Like, obviously we know you're grateful for your kids. Like that's a given, but what's something unique and special every single day that's different that you're really able to look around and say, you know what? I'm grateful for this.
Yeah. I think it's so great because then you're reprogramming your mind to find something even more than what's in your current situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what do you think about, I'm still trying to kind of figure out where accountability comes into play, in terms of discipline, because there's some people, they're able to flex the muscle to become self-disciplined where they can do it themselves. But there are other people that actually need to be accountable to someone else. And I was just wondering what you think about that.
I think you really do need to have what I call a mastermind or a peer group at all times. I think it's one of the most important things you can do for yourself as an individual, where you have either 2 or 3 other people every single week getting together for 1 hour, and you are holding each other accountable. You are sharing with each other what you have accomplished this past week, what you did not accomplish this past week, why you didn't accomplish it. And these people need to be peers. Like, they need to be people that you know, like, and trust, that you respect, because for people to hold you accountable, you actually have to care what they think about. And so these people need to be people that you don't want to let down, that you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of. So that mastermind, that peer group, that has to be part of every person's life.
Okay, so this is great. I'm actually really glad that we're talking about this because when I originally saw that, I'm in a mastermind. I think I mentioned at the beginning. I've been in one for 4 years, and it's been a really huge part of how I've done the thing in business, right? Because we're able to all talk about our businesses, and we do talk about some personal too. But it's been really extraordinary for me. But what I'm hearing you say is it's almost like a personal mastermind with you holding yourself accountable for your personal habits. Is that an added benefit is what you're thinking?
It absolutely should be personal. It should be business. It should be all the things. Like, you're not going to show up best if you're 50 pounds overweight, or if you're in a bad relationship that's emotionally draining, or if you're not meeting your business goals. And a mastermind can help you with all of those things.
Yeah. I love that. And then for someone that doesn't really have a network right now, what do you think's their best way to get the right people, right? Because you have to have the right people in it in order to get what you want.
Absolutely. I mean, the quality of your peer group, of your mastermind, is going to be the quality of your results. Absolutely. So let me turn that question to you. How did you find your peers?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, mine came from, I was in a marketing meeting for years, and one of the people that was in the group had mentioned it was kind of a game changer for her business. So I basically heard about it from going to a regular monthly marketing meeting.
And then how'd you find the people to get into your mastermind?
Well, this one's a paid for, where we're paying every month, not one that's developed
Yeah. And I think those are great too, by the way. I think both are great. Like paying for a mastermind that maybe is being run by somebody who is really crushing it. And the people below are kind of like learning from that individual. Like I was part of one of those back when I launched a podcast called the Podcast Mastermind, which was 10 people. And the person that was running it was really successful and knowledgeable. And then the rest of us were like learning from him. So that can be a great one. Or, like for me, I went to a bunch of conferences and I was really connecting with some great people at these conferences. And then I, eventually pulled 2 or 3 of them aside over time and said, hey, I'm looking to, have a weekly meetup with people that I really respect. And we're going to help each other's businesses and personal lives and growth, et cetera. And I found the right group. And, that's really how I was able to find my sweet spot with my mastermind, was through that.
Okay. I love that. Okay. So this has been great so far. So we have this too shall pass, having that mantra that we say, whether things are good or bad. And then in terms of productivity, discipline, focus, developing, flexing, all that good stuff. What else would you say would be your number one piece of advice you would give to someone starting something new?
If you're starting something new, it's really important you follow what I consider the key 3-step process. Come up with your big idea. Like your big idea is going to be something that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, but then find the step number 2 in there, which is the niche within that big idea that's underserved, that's a void in the marketplace. What is not currently being done within that big idea that you can and want to do? And then number 3 is, hey, who's your perfect customer, your perfect client, your avatar for that solution you're creating for that real problem, that real specific niched idea? Those are the first 3 steps. Once you get there, you're off to the races.
Love it. It's great. Thank you. And what do you think I should have asked you that I didn't ask you in regards to doing the thing?
Where I live, which is Puerto Rico, because it is paradise down here in the Caribbean. I've been here for 6 years and I'll never leave.
And that's like that. I was, when I saw your video of you showing your house, I just felt like I was watching your dreams, like to the end almost, where it was like I felt like I was there. It's so cool to just know the amount of work that you've been through, right, to get to where you are now, and just seeing that joy and the electric that it's displayed in it. I felt like I was part of it with you, and I could see how long it took almost in that video. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was cool.
No, I'm glad you saw that. I definitely know what you're saying, and very intuitive of you.
Yeah, thank you. So what else do you think would be, for people that are doing the thing, what do you think would be a good risk assessment for them to be able to feel not scared to do something new?
Well, listen, you should feel scared doing something new. You should be nervous. You should have doubts, because that's part of being a human being. Like, embrace that. Know that every single person who's ever achieved anything that's meaningful has had doubts, has had fears, has been scared, has had anxiety around that. That's just part of the world that we live in. That's why we survived as human beings. So don't beat yourself up over that or be, upset about that. Realize that, hey, is this thing something that I am excited about, that I'm passionate about, that I want to become a great solution to a real problem in this world? And the answer is yes. Then continue to go forward despite the fear, despite the doubt, despite the anxiety, because that's how winners win.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I think you definitely are an inspiration to watch, and I love the transparency that you have. And I think it definitely, everything you do shows why you're so successful. And I think it's amazing that you'll just book an appointment with someone off of a calendar and do an interview. And I think it just shows the value that you bring.
Well, I appreciate that, Stacey. It was a great chat. I hope this gives value to your listeners, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Do the Thing podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, but even more, we hope you'll be inspired to do the thing. Do you have a burning question on doing the thing that you'd like answered? How about an inspiring do the thing story of your own that you'd like to share? We'd love to hear all about it. Just leave us a voice message at dothething.callcast.co or email us at hello@dothethingpodcast.com.